Remember the narrative? Remember the doubts? The whispers that maybe, just maybe, the San Francisco 49ers weren't entirely sold on their Cinderella quarterback? Well, look at him now. Brock Purdy didn't just get a contract. He got a statement. A massive, record-setting, future-securing statement. This isn't just a football story, folks. It's a Hollywood script come to life, and we've got the exclusive details you need to hear. That's right, the improbable journey of Brock Purdy, the very last pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, has reached its most significant milestone yet. The San Francisco 49ers have officially inked their franchise quarterback to a groundbreaking 5-year contract extension. When we talk about franchise quarterback money, this deal defines it, a staggering $265 million over 5 years. And get this, a colossal $181 million is guaranteed. Plus, the ultimate sign of trust in today's NFL, a no-trade clause. This isn't just a commitment, it's an unbreakable bond between player and team. For months leading up to this monumental signing, the air in the Bay Area, and frankly across the entire NFL landscape, was thick with speculation. Could the 49ers, led by General Manager John Lynch and head coach Kyle Shanahan, truly commit this kind of financial future to a player who, just a couple of years ago, was simply hoping to make the practice squad? The narrative of the cheap rookie contract was a huge advantage for the team, allowing them to build a loaded roster around him. Would they risk that advantage by paying market value, or even above market value, for a player still relatively early in his career? The questions were legitimate, the debates were fiery. But what about the young man at the center of it all, Brock Purdy himself? How did he navigate the uncertainty, the public discourse, the knowledge that his long-term future with the team hung in the balance? Remember, his NFL experience prior to last season was almost entirely defined by deep playoff runs. He stepped in, led the team to the NFC Championship, then the Super Bowl the following year. Missing the playoffs last season was a new, perhaps unsettling experience. It brought a different kind of pressure, a different kind of spotlight. Brock recently opened up about this period in a candid conversation with Tim Kawakami of the San Francisco Standard. He described the feeling of facing an off-season without the familiar structure of playoff preparation, and the questions that arose about his own standing. For me, this whole thing was sort of new, just from not making the playoffs last year, Purdy explained. All I knew was making it to the NFC Championship games, the Super Bowl, and the big moments, the big games, things like that. So, when we didn't make the playoffs, I was like, all right, what is this like for a quarterback, the pressure of the offseason and everything, and my job? What does all that look like or feel like to me? You can sense the vulnerability there, the genuine human reaction to uncertainty, but then came the clarity, the reassurance that lifted that weight. Purdy shared the pivotal moments. But hearing Kyle tell me and John tell me no, that I'm their guy and they're going to roll with me and believe in me, they told me over and over and over again that I'm their guy and we're going to figure this thing out together. That's the kind of unwavering support every player dreams of, especially when the stakes are this high. It wasn't just a single conversation, it was a repeated, consistent message. Now, in the swirling vortex of off-season rumors, one particular narrative gained a little traction back in March. With Purdy entering the final year of his rookie deal, some wondered aloud if the 49ers might entertain the idea of bringing in a future Hall of Famer for a season or two. Yes, the name Aaron Rodgers surfaced, fueled perhaps by the historical context of Kyle Shanahan's reported interest in Rodgers back in 2021. However, let's put that to rest right now, definitively. The reality is, despite that past storyline, there has been absolutely no credible indication that Shanahan or Lynch have wavered in their belief that Brock Purdy is the long-term answer at quarterback. Their actions speak far louder than any speculative whispers. This is a player who, in his brief time as the starter, has navigated the pressures of 2 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. He wasn't just a passenger, he was a key driver of that success. He was also a legitimate finalist for the NFL's Most Valuable Player award last season. That kind of performance, that kind of leadership under pressure, is incredibly rare, especially from a player with his draft pedigree. The idea that they would seriously consider moving on from that for a short-term option, regardless of name, simply doesn't align with the commitment they've now demonstrated. So, the contract is signed, the future is secured. But what does this mean for Brock Purdy's approach? Does the massive payday change anything? Purdy is acutely aware that being paid like a top-tier quarterback comes with elevated expectations. He understands that his growth as both a player and the leader of the offense is paramount. He addressed this head-on with Kawakami, stating, "I feel like I understand what it takes to win here, and I need to do what I can and lean on my experience and the leadership that I've gained over the last 3 years, continue to grow and encourage guys and love on guys, show them, hey, you can fail or this or that, but we're going to get better, we're going to learn from it." Be that kind of voice. I don't think the money value should change my process. That quote is incredibly telling. It reveals a maturity beyond his years and a clear focus on the elements that truly matter: leadership, growth, and the collective pursuit of victory. The money is the reward for past performance and the belief in future potential. But his commitment remains rooted in the day-to-day process of getting better and leading his teammates. And the optimism surrounding Purdy and the 49ers isn't just internal. Just this week, on June 5th, ESPN's Aaron Schatz published a compelling analysis that should have the faithful buzzing. He looked at teams that struggled last season and identified the one most likely to make a dramatic turnaround and go from worst to first in their division next season. His pick: the San Francisco 49ers team that finished 6-11 last year, a season heavily impacted by injuries, remember. And the primary reason for his optimism? Brock Purdy leading a healthy offense. Schatz specifically highlighted the significant impact of key players returning from injury. Imagine Brock Purdy operating with a full complement of weapons and protection. He pointed to the return of dynamic running back Christian McCaffrey, superstar wide receiver Brandon Ayuk, and the anchor of that offensive line, the future Hall of Famer himself, left tackle Trent Williams. Getting those foundational pieces back on the field alongside a quarterback who now has the ultimate financial and organizational backing, that's a recipe for a potentially explosive season and a rapid ascent back to the top of the NFC. So, the chapter of doubt is closed. The narrative has shifted dramatically. Brock Purdy, the final pick, the underdog, the Cinderella story, is now the undisputed highest-paid leader of the San Francisco 49ers. This contract isn't just about the money, it's about belief, validation, and a clear path forward. It signifies the 49ers' absolute confidence that Brock Purdy is the man to guide them back to the Super Bowl and beyond. The journey continues, but the foundation is now stronger than ever. What an incredible turn of events. We want to know what you think about this massive deal for Brock Purdy. Does this solidify the 49ers as Super Bowl contenders? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section right below. We read every single one. And if you appreciated this in-depth look at the Purdy contract and the future of the 49ers, please show us some love by hitting that like button. It truly helps us bring you more exclusive reports like this. Thank you so much for tuning in.